Hi, how's it going, everybody? It's Jazzy of US Store Sasquatch here, and I'm doing a Monday morning review. I went and saw A Complete Unknown, directed by James Mangold, starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, Edward Norton as Pete Seeger, Ellie Fanning as Sylvie Russo, and Monica Barbero as Joan Baez. In 1961, an unknown 19-year-old Bob Dylan arrives in New York City with his guitar. He forges relationships with music icons of Greenwich Village on his meteoric rise, culminating into a groundbreaking performance that reverberates worldwide. This movie was very good. I didn't want to go see it. I was trying to think of like excuses not to do it. I was like really backing out. I was going to back out at the last minute. I mean, I'm telling you, I wasn't going to go to this movie. I'm glad I did because this was a very good movie. The music in it is the one thing that completely stands out, of course, because it's Bob Dylan's music. It's the old school kind of folk music, the old school rock music that we get, and his transition here is cool to watch. I think that I bet if you're like kind of asking Bob Dylan like the whole time, he kind of had the plan to kind of go more into electric and get out of the folk scene that he was in, but he kind of got roped into that folk scene, meeting his idol like Peter Seeger and Woody Guthrie, who was Woody Guthrie was played by Scott McNairy. Like it's kind of like a sad part of the whole movie because he's kind of like not there mentally. Dan Fogler is really good in this movie. Um, and Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash was very good in this movie. The uh, let's see, and so everyone that was in this movie is good. I wanted to make sure I got Dan Fogler and Boyd Holbrook out there though because they were outstanding in their little performances that they had. The guys, you could just tell push for Bob Dylan as soon as they met him. Um, Edward Norton, awesome in this movie. Timothy Chalamet is Bob Dylan. I mean, I'm telling you, I think this is like the first actual, for real, 100% genuine Timothy Chalamet movie that I liked, and I can see why people like him. He kind of gets lost into the Bob Dylan role here, which is awesome. Ellie Fanning and Sylvia Russo kind of his like love interest here early on in life, very good. And Monica Barrero's Joan Baez. I mean, when he finally kind of turns on her and she kind of gets on it, it is a very good part of the movie. And like just to see her reaction to just this guy that she just cannot stand anymore, that she once loved, very good. I mean, the writing and direction are on point throughout this whole movie. Um, that's good because some of these movies, when they get to the biopic, we get a story or we get a guy telling us a story about the person. I like how this wasn't that. This was just a movie that we just kind of followed Bob Dylan and kind of followed the scenes that kind of made Bob Dylan who Bob Dylan was. Everything about this movie, you can tell, was just one to be perfect. Even to the settings of the old school New York, the lighting, the cinematography, everything about this movie is just very good. I give it a minus and a biopic, B plus overall. I don't know how much that you'd have to like Bob Dylan to actually like this movie, but I mean, I kind of like the music. You know what I mean? I knew the music, so I kind of like understood what it was going to be. Is like, if anything, this movie is going to give us a great soundtrack, and it's going to be worth just watching it for the soundtrack. And there's just so much more for this movie. There's just a great story behind how he went from a folk music hero or whatever to this electric music that these people just they're just not they weren't ready for at the time. And even if you hear what his music is on the electric side, it's just like old school like folk music just brought in with electricity with the guitars and the full band instead of just a person singing an acoustic guitar. um there's so much I like about this movie. One thing that kind of like gotten to me because I'm an ex-smoker is they just made smoking real freaking cool in this movie. And it kind of makes you want a cigarette. That was just my one little note about it. It's kind of like a little joke note. Uh, there's just there's just so many cool, complex like complexity to this guy, this Bob Dylan that is just so it just makes it like just makes it awesome. Um, the whole music festival, I don't know much about the actual history behind everything, but I'm sure that if you get into a pissing match with an old school group of people and you're trying to change the one thing that they really were trying to hold on to, that you're going to kind of get into trouble here just like Bob did. So I believe like there was a lot of controversy about it. I don't know about it. I mean, I've heard kind of a couple stories here and there. See, I don't know much about the history of Bob Dylan, so I don't know like how much of this is accurate, how much of they got right, how much they didn't get right, and how much is just kind of like blowing smoke up your ass to make Bob Dylan look good. But they did make Bob Dylan look good, and I think that's the only thing that you really are trying to do in a biopic is make the person who you're choosing to portray to make to look good. I think that a couple of the movies that we've seen recently that are biopics have been kind of lost that main part of it. Like, so I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk about them, but there's just I think if you look at like the contrast of like the last three biopics that came out, and then this one, you can definitely see it. And like I said, this is I don't know if I said it here, but this is the best movie or biopic movie, especially about a musician that I've seen since Walk the Line. And that's saying a lot because Walk the Line is really freaking good, and just all the material that they had, just everything that they bring in. Like you almost want to see Walk the Line now with the whole Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash. That he was so good as Johnny Cash in this movie, and I like the world building. Like not the world building, but how they brought in like just like the classic little stuff to make it like seem like that is like they had the whole conflict, the whole Cuban Missile conflict, kind of as a main part of it. You heard like Y.A. Tittle earlier from the Giants, like just like certain little things that you'd pick up on a history part of it that just were cool that made it even more believable that you were watching a movie set back in that time. Yes, definitely for sure 100% recommend this movie. I would go and find it at your local theaters if you can. If you can't, if you're just gonna wait for it, it will be out. It's a Fox Searchlight, so that means Hulu will eventually grab it up. So you can wait for it for that, or you can just go to the theaters and watch it. I suggest watching it for a 2 hour and 20 minute movie. This movie really is paced very well, and it rides through. It don't even feel like 2 hours, and that's like the best compliment I can give it. So that was A Complete Unknown, directed by James Mangold. I told you guys that we are going through the list of everything, and we have announced all of our other categories for our award shows here. We're coming up the first, and this will be the last bit of it. This is the best movie of the year category here. We're going to go through them. There's 6 of them. I've been going back rewatching. These are the 6 that I'm comfortable with saying are the best movies of this year. Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Evan Kren, and Matthew McFadden. Deadpool is offered a place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by the Time Variance Authority, but instead recruits a variant of Wolverine to save his universe from extinction. This movie is awesome. It's number 1 right now on the top 10 list. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you go watch it, especially if you're a Marvel movie fan and you're just kind of holding off to see what's going on. It's on Disney Plus right now. It has a rewatchable factor that's awesome. So that is Deadpool, directed by Sean Levy. And we got Twisters, directed by Lee Isaac Chung, starring Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Pereira, and it is Kate Carter, a retired tornado chaser meteorologist, is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. This movie is awesome. It's a perfect sequel for a great movie. It has a good rewatchable factor onto it. There's a lot of good things about this movie to like, and it's definitely a top movie of the year. So that was Twisters, directed by Lee Isaac Chung. Next, as you've heard of, but it's all over this award page, is The Substance, directed by Carolee Fargay, starring Demi Moore, Margaret Collery, Dennis Quaid. A fading celebrity takes a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. This movie is all hyped up right now. Everyone's talking about it. It's in your best movie of the year categories. This is just a great body horror movie. I didn't even know what body horror was until I watched it. So I mean, this is the standalone body horror movie for me. That's The Substance, directed by Coralie Fargay. We got Smile 2, directed by Peter Finn, starring Naomi Scott, Rosemary DeWitt, Lucas Gage, and Miles Gutierrez Riley. About to embark on a world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and unexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her past. This is a psychological thriller movie that you just gotta watch. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I suggest you watch. This is definitely top movie of the year, one of the top movies of the year. Might even win. I mean, this is a front runner here. I'd say Smile 2. I'd say the last four we say are all front runners, and the next two even are front runners. So, I mean, this is a hard category to watch. They're a hard category to really choose from this year. So, keeping it interesting. And that was Smile 2, directed by Peter Finn. We have Monkey Man, directed by Dev Patel, starring Dev Patel and Sharito Copley and Pito Bash. An anonymous young man unleashes a campaign of vengeance against the corrupt leaders who murdered his mother and continue to systematically victimize the poor and powerless. This is the only movie on this list that does not have a review on it because it was earlier in the year and it was before I was doing these reviews. This movie is good. This movie is a movie. I told my buddy at the beginning of the year this is probably an early favorite for movie of the year, and this came out around February and March, so it lasted into my head this whole time. It's really good. It's really good action, really good vengeance story. So if you have not seen this movie, I definitely suggest go watching it. It is on Prime right now. And there's Monkey Man, directed by Dev Patel. And then our last one of the six, Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez, starring Kaylee Spinay, David Johnson, Archie Renault, and Isabel Mercado. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonists come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe, and that is the alien, the xenomorph. This movie is awesome. This movie is just so good. The coloring, the whole effects of everything, the shading, everything about this movie is very good. I told you these are top 6 movies that are just so hard to choose from here. Let's just go. And that was Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez, that we talked about here. But now let's just go through them real quick, just to kind of just list them, get it over with, and then we'll just move it on for the first. I'll put everything on Facebook before then, so you guys can kind of see. We're gonna start with Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Sean Levy. Twisters, directed by Lee Isaac Chung. The Substance, directed by Carolee Farge. Smile 2, directed by Peter Finn. Monkey Man, directed by Dev Patel. And Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez. That is our top movies of the year. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know if you've seen A Complete Unknown. Let me know what you guys think about that movie. Let me know what you guys think about Bob Dylan. Are you a fan of Bob Dylan? Do you like his music? Did you know that he was like one of the only people to win a Nobel Peace Prize for literature? Like, he's the only musician to do that. That's all crazy stuff. It's amazing. I learned a lot in this movie. We're going to get into a award ceremony, and we're going to start a whole brand new year coming up here. So everything's going to go out the window that we did, and it's all going to start all over. We're going to have a whole brand new top 10 list that we're going to have to wait 10 weeks to get official top 10 lists. So everything's going to be exciting. Have a happy new year, guys, if I don't talk to you before then. And thank you guys very much for watching. Please have a good rest of your day or night. And please like. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment your top movie picks for Throwback Thursday in the comment section. And see you next time in the cave.